By the end of this video, the goal is to have this Jeep running and driving around the neighborhood. But for that to happen, a few things need to take place first. We need to replace this fuel pump and fuel line. That way we're not trying to use that plastic primer bulb to keep the engine running. We need to install the key switch, the foot switch, new battery cables, and make sure the coil's mounted so we don't have sketchy wires laying all over the place. Even though the oil was changed when this was put away, that was 30 years ago. So we're gonna do oil, filter, transmission oil, transfer case, diff. That way everything has fresh fluids so we're not damaging anything. We'll replace the belt because by the time we reach the road, it's probably just gonna snap off anyway. We'll actually install the brake pedal and gas pedal. That way we can feather out the clutch and maybe stop. The first thing I did was remove the bolts for the coil bracket. That's when I found out they went right into the water jacket and we got coolant everywhere as soon as we pulled them out. This means when we put the bolts back in, we need to make sure there's thread sealant on there so it doesn't leak. After that, we moved on to the belt. First, we had to loosen the alternator so we could slip the belt off the pulleys and around the cooling fan. Yeah, I'd say it was time for a new belt. 30 years is long enough. Now that the belt was off, we could install the new one in reverse order. Over the cooling fan, onto the pulleys, and put tension on the alternator. On the crank, around the fan, and come on. So close. There we go. And snug it up. Time to see if we actually have an oil filter in here. Probably should have checked that before we ran it. And yep.
I was expecting it to be black.
Well, I'm assuming this oil got changed right before it got put away.
Oh.
So this is fresh oil. It probably never ran on the oil. I should have the other filter, which doesn't really look right now that I look at this one. Well,
It's shorter.
it seems a lot shorter.
Yeah. What's the number on that filter? I guess maybe I look.
P40.
No, on the old one.
Oh. Just a 600.
Cool. Maybe there's a number on the bottom or the top.
No. Well, I guess we just keep using this filter for now.
It's pretty new.
It looks okay.
Yeah. It's a little shorter.
Is it the same diameter?
Smaller.
Slightly smaller. I mean, it's not far off.
No, a lot can change in 30 years.
So we could probably also swap it out just to run it, and then because we're going to change the filter again anyway, so we might be able to use that temporarily.
Okay.
Well, I'll keep this in there for now. slowly. Oh. No, I just wanted to get this garbage out of there.
This was me.
This is the cork gasket that was on here.
Oh,
So, yeah. So it's not gonna actually seal anymore. Well, this cork gasket's gonna get an upgrade. We're going to use one of these O-rings. That'll work. And I just want to make sure we got all of that out. I just want to make sure there was no cork material in there. So we can do this. Put that back. Make sure that's all sealed. All right. That's that. Now we have the oil filter at least checked out. Let's drain the oil and see what 30-year-old oil looks like. And hopefully it's not super milky. I don't see too many metallic flakes. And it just looks like oil. Cool. Doesn't look like it ran on this oil much at all. If it hadn't been 30 years and all the additives are broken down, I'd say we could ship it. But for the price of oil, we might as well just swap it out, run it. We'll try to test drive it and then change the oil again. This time we'll actually change the filter. Should be somewhere around 4 or 5 quarts, I think. Should be good enough. Let's see. Oh yeah, nailed it. Oil's done. Let's move on to differentials. All right, for the differential, we've got a drain plug, which is just a 1/2 inch square. And then you've got the fill plug. Actually, that fill plug's loose. Okay, well, normally you want to check to make sure you can get the fill plug out before you take the drain plug out. In this case, it's loose. And when you fill it up, you want to make sure that you've got oil right at the bottom. But this differential is empty. So it's a good thing we're doing this and not driving it first. Otherwise, this diff would have no oil. Let's see if there's anything in there. And there's nothing. Okay. Well, I guess it's gonna have oil now. So let's just put that plug back in. All right. And we'll tighten this up. All right, now I get the oil.
Got it.
Okay. We did it. We'll just let that level out. I can put the plug back in and see what other fluids are completely empty. All right, that's good enough. Plug back in. And we'll snug it up. And we'll wipe it all up. Happy differential. On to the next one. The back is going to be just like the front, except worse, because now we have to lay down and do it. So make sure you can loosen this up, which we can. So that's good. Then we see if there's any fluid left in here. Except this is all rounded off. So let's see if we can just tap this on. And then lose it. Ugh. Oh, moving the whole Jeep. We're gonna run ourselves over. Let's take this off. What do you think? Is there any fluid in here?
No.
No. Let's see. The answer is yes. And it's not that bad. It's kind of gross, but it could be worse. Well, let's take this out. And let it drain. And then I'll refill it, and then we'll move on to the transfer case and transmission. I'm not going to bore you with filling up another differential. So the transmission is more of the same. You've got the fill plug up here, and the drain plug is down here, and you'll see that in a second. But first, let's get this fill plug out. Oh. Well, when we do the body, it looks like the exhaust needs a lot of help. You know, I guess a lot of this needs a lot of help. But as long as it drives and everything shifts and does all the good stuff, and I'm assuming we'll just keep going on this project. All right, there is the fill plug. Now let's get the drain plug. Normally, you would want to take this skid plate off, because as soon as we pull this drain plug, it's going to send oil all over the skid plate. And I think my oil pan is hopefully big enough. Oh, it's all rusted. I'm hoping my oil pan's big enough to just catch it all. Oh, come on. So I don't have to take the skid plate off. Or I'm just going to cover my entire floor in oil and then I'll wish I took the skid plate off. So I guess we're gonna find out what happens. Okay, so if I move this to cover all of the area, I hope. And then we take this plug out.
Oh, should have been nothing in it.
I don't see that. Can you? There we go. And oh, that's
disgusting.
that's really bad.
What is it?
That's water.
No.
Yeah. That's a milkshake.
Chocolate milkshake. Oh, gross.
Yeah.
What does that mean? There's a leak.
Means water got in the transmission.
No, how long has it been sitting?
30 years. Means water's been sitting in the transmission for who knows how long.
Oops.
That's not supposed to be sludge. Well, that's not great. I don't know. How does the diff fluid look so good and clean, and then the transmission looks like this? I mean, it could be worse. Could be an automatic transmission. That'd be really bad. I wonder if we can just start by just trying to flush it. We'll let it just drain out for a while and then try to flush it with fresh oil. And then probably try to figure it out when we get the body off, because figuring out how water got in there with the body on and not being able to get to the top of the gearbox doesn't sound fun. What do we do now? Well, we can start by pumping fresh oil into it until maybe it comes out a little less sludgy. And then we can put the drain plug back in and fill it, drive it, mix it around, get all that sludge out of there, change the oil again, and see how we're looking after that. Then we can go from there. Try to track down how the water got in there from the first place. I think that's the plan. For now, we wait for this 150 weight oil to come out. We'll be back. All right, let's see if we can flush this out a little bit. Is it coming out?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, there we go. Oh, that's nice. How's it looking?
It's coming.
Is it still disgusting?
It's pretty gross.
Okay.
Less gross. It's more smooth.
It's gonna take a lot of changes.
Oh, yeah.
So it doesn't need to be perfectly clean, just fairly clean. It's looking a little nicer.
Yeah.
All right. I would say I'll let that drain out and then maybe put the drain plug in. I guess I could pump a little bit more in. We've got plenty. We've got another couple quarts over there, plus the rest of this. I'm done for the night. I'm gonna let it drain down, and then tomorrow we'll put the plug in, fill it back up, and move on. Well, it's all done draining. We're gonna put the plug back in, fill it, and move on to the transfer case. Hopefully that's not full of water. I found a longer hose, so I can go through the body. This beats laying down, pumping, especially because the transmission holds a lot more than those differentials do. Now, I'm not saying it's cold here, because Arizona doesn't really get cold. But it rained today, so the temperatures are lower, and it is not fun to pump 90 weight gear oil. That took way longer than it should have. But now, we're just waiting for it to drain down as I clean this nastiness off the plug, and then we'll move on. And I'll show you where the transfer case drain plug and fill are. Got the fill plug up here, which we'll be able to get out. And then we have the drain plug right through this hole in the skid plate, which we'll be able to drain. So let's start with the drain plug. And we're gonna find out if it's full of water too. What do you think?
Hopefully not.
Oh, that looks like oil. It's not the cleanest, but it's not full of water. Let me get this out. Oops. Come on. All right. There we go. Look at that. We only had one thing full of water. I call that a win. This is a foot switch. And what it's going to allow us to do is not just tap the starter with the battery cable. We'll run the positive from the battery to this side of the foot switch. And from this side of the foot switch to the starter, we'll mount it on the floor, and you push it with your foot, and it'll crank the engine over. And it'll crank it over as long as you hold your foot down. You can take your foot off once it's running. Or you grind the starter into the flywheel. They had less guardrails back then. We can take this super sketchy battery cable off now that we have shiny new battery cables. So we got the short cable, which will go from the top of the foot switch to the starter. And then we've got this longer cable, which will go to the battery, all the way down here to the bottom of the foot switch. Okay. It's raining. Just snug this up. All right. Now, in theory, if I push that switch down, the starter will turn over. Let's find out. Here goes nothing. That's it. Well, I made a mess again. Apparently the oil filter gasket wasn't sealed and I wanted to test it, so I started it up and that made oil go everywhere, which means we have oil pressure. I was really just hoping to prevent it from rusting any further. That's why we did it. That's why we covered it in oil. So we're gonna try it again. And I tightened it, and we're gonna see if it leaks again, or if I need to take it apart and fix that gasket. Here goes nothing. Well, that means the timing's off a little bit. And it doesn't matter because we're leaking.
Again?
Yep. So we need to, yeah, from right here.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn it up a little.
Yep, it's leaking right there. So that gasket isn't sealing.
Coil.
All right. Well, it didn't come with a new one.
No.
So yes, it is old. All right. Oh, this was a mistake.
Oh.
Okay. Oh yeah, that wasn't even. That's not even.
Is it not in there?
It wasn't in there. It's tucked. It's pushed up underneath here. So right here, it just see how it was. What we're gonna do is we're gonna cheat. We're just gonna push this down in here. We will make sure to get a new one next time. We just need to get this to seal for this time. Please don't leak. Please don't leak. I need you not to leak.
All I think it was a meter. I never leak oil.
All right. Clean that back up. And let's put this back on. If you're wondering why I'm still using this jumper cable, it's because we have the wrong key switch. That's a story we'll explain in a minute. Let's see if this works. All right. Timing's a little off, but we got all the fluids changed. Oil's not leaking anymore. We got oil pressure. Oh. Okay. Runs pretty good. Smokes a lot. Hopefully that's still mystery oil. Or just a cold start. All right. Didn't even spark. All the fluids have changed. We got the foot switch, new battery cables. I haven't installed the fuel line yet. We still need the fuel filter, or fuel line, fuel pump. But I wonder if we just do that after we test drive it, that way we can take the body off and have better access. Just thought. But I think we're to the point where I think we can drive it in the morning. That's exciting. We'll find out if it'll run through the gears. We'll take it around the neighborhood and hopefully clear up some of this smoke. It smokes a lot. I'm gonna say maybe it's just leftover mystery oil. And we're just gonna keep telling ourselves that until we can actually drive it. We warmed up a little bit. What are we at? Oh, that says 170. Sure, let's go with that. I think that's it. I'll see you guys in the morning and we'll take this thing for a test drive. There's two things we need to take care of before we drive it. One, the fuel, which is currently just siphoning down into the carb, we need to secure. We're going to use a bungee cord. And two, this body isn't actually attached to anything, so we're going to use a ratchet strap, which is good because we don't even have a seat, so then I can sit on the ratchet strap and kill two birds with one stone. Let's go. So let me just do something like that. Run this through here. And go over here. Run this down. It's not going anywhere.
Gotta say it.
And then the strap, which was a little overkill. Come over here. Strap it down to the frame. Pull this tight. And here we go. Attach this. Right. Well, the body's not going anywhere, but it doesn't give me the seat I wanted. So we'll have to come up with a plan B. Let's see. I'm here. Oh, we don't need a plan B. This will work. Just yeah, I guess so. Moves. Brakes don't work. I know my brake pedal's stuck. Oops. So.
Bye.
Did you not have that through the handle?
No, I had it up here.
Oh, babe. I don't know, the handle saved it, but...
Oops.
Whoopsies.
So our big mistake was he only used one bungee cord when we should have used two. Now, that'll keep it from tipping. And it's much safer. I'm sure of it. I'm a professional. All right. Let's try it again. Fortunately, I wonder if I should try to put brake fluid in it.
But you said we don't have brakes.
I don't know.
Oh.
You can start by putting fluid in it.
That's probably a good idea.
As soon as I put this in, oh, I didn't roll. Well, let's try it again. We're going for it. We're in second. We didn't get very far. Now we're gonna try to get back. Okay. We're gonna make it! We're not gonna make it! We might be towing it back.
Had a good run. You can do it.
Just need a fuel pump.
Yeah, probably should have done that.
Coming home.
pushing it in?
No, not yet. I'm just glad I got it back back here.
Very cool.
I took it down and around, and then the fuel pump's not hooked up, so I was using the primer bulb. I ran out of fuel down there. Well, it runs. Got through first gear, second gear. Couldn't get to third gear because I kept running out of fuel. Maybe I'll hook the fuel pump up when we take the body off. Can also make sure everything's cleaned up, make sure there's no leaks. Maybe actually put brakes in it so we can stop on the next test drive. But that's all gonna have to wait till another video. Until then, thanks for watching.